Last time I put these in the freezer. I bet you never thought I would show you, but I will. Might not be able to do this one-handed though. There's one of them. Turned out pretty good. Let's see what it looks like in a cup. It looks pretty cool actually. But it's a little big for the cup. The tumbler, you can't really keep it up. I'll put a little bit of Diet Cherry Coke in there because can't have bourbon tonight. So it looks like this episode is going to very quickly become a handyman episode, because if the ladies don't find you handsome, at least they should find you handy, as one of my heroes said. So there's a couple of repairs that my little walking tornado has forced upon me, and we're going to take care of some of those, and then some of it's my own doing too. But we'll start with the closet door. We're going to start here, and this shows, I think, the sheer might of that little one. But there's a hole here, and that hole, somehow the screw, let's see if I can find my hand, there we go. That screw got pulled out of that hole. That was put a washer on the back, and hopefully that'll help. My only concern is the clearance on this accordion gate. And that might be a little big, but we're gonna try it. And as they say on the YouTube video, boom goes the dynamite. And we can take a look from behind. There it is. Good luck, She-Hulk. Better luck next time. This is the one we're talking about, right, Taryn? Taryn, can you tell the internet your full... Hi! Can you tell everybody your full name? Is it Taryn Stuff Up? You enjoying that sandwich? Mm-hmm. Oh, geez, I guess so. I love you, honey. I love you. While I make my way to my next repair, we'll talk about something else really important to the Phelps household and one of our furry kids. And to do that, I'm going to interview my lovely bride for a moment. Hey, Amanda. Who's that you're holding?
Zach.
Zach? Zach was an outdoor cat. It took quite a lot of convincing to allow you to have me bring him home, if I remember right. Is that true?
Okay, whatever. I don't know. I didn't put up too big of a fuss.
Zach was a rehome that Amanda and I agreed to do. We had lost some of our outdoor kitties, and we thought he could be a garage and outdoor kitty, but where does he live now, Amanda?
In here.
In the house?
Yeah.
How did he do that?
He got sick.
He got sick? It wasn't just that. and when we're saying he got sick, he had a little bit of a sniffle.
He was cold, and he was sick, and he came in. Now he lives here.
He weaseled his way into your heart, didn't he?
Yeah.
Would you say he might be one of your favorite kitties?
Yeah.
So, an important lesson there, folks. Always be open to new experiences. Zachy, can you say spoiled cat? Say spoiled. Say fooled you, suckers. Okay, this next part I can't blame on Taryn. This one's on me. I'm walking over bike parts again to get into the office, because we're going to do some router work, but there's something else to do while I'm in here. Besides, of course, getting these mounted to the bike, you'll see they're stored in this office that's got a door, because I don't want any furry creatures messing up this art. Just incredible. I can't wait. But as I walk in, I notice that wall and a shelf that has seen better days. And you might ask why? Well, I put too many of these nails. And I thought I had a stud, but apparently I didn't many moons ago. And I've never had anything as heavy as all the nails on here. And this will return to an office, like I said, but in the time being, I'm going to actually fix this situation. Then we'll get the router installed and replace this one that is no longer functional for some reason. So how am I going to fix that shelf? The answer is simple. I'm going to use one of these anchors, and they screw right into the wall. And the screw goes into there, it flanges out, and is good for about 70 pounds, 50 pounds for each of these. So that should be more than adequate. And for this, I brought out the handyman's secret weapon. Whoops. Okay, I thought I captured this before, but apparently I was having technical difficulties with the phone. Anyway, we're back at the router, and you can see it's kind of doing this flash on the network ports in the back. That tells me that this router has had it. It is no more. So we're going to replace that. The gray network cable comes in on the internet feed, and that's actually going to my Wi-Fi feed. So I've got like this little box here. It connects up and does my Wi-Fi, and it connects up to a satellite dish on the roof that's doing a peer-to-peer connection to a Wi-Fi mesh network. And this little red Ethernet cable is just hanging off there for a diagnostic device, although the new routers I've been getting have software for doing that on the phone, which is really nice, so we can test the connection on my phone. And then the blue cable that's right here is actually feeding into my house. So I did have a switch in here for a while, but my Wi-Fi provider only issues me one IP address. So having a hub like this with a firewall allows me to issue private IP addresses in my home network and map it to the IP address that's coming in from my Wi-Fi service. Basically, that means if I use something more intelligent than a switch, I can have televisions, multiple computers, iPads, phones, all connected up through my internet service. And additionally, having, a firewall here in the office, as well as a firewall in the house, gives me some additional protection and network isolation. So this is the guy that has finally croaked. I think he's been in service now for 10 years, so that's not a bad run, especially considering my office, especially as of late, has had extreme weather conditions, both heat and cold, because I'm using it currently as a workshop. But it will be returned and have heat and an AC unit running in here fairly consistently soon, because I am planning on turning this into a small business. Anyway, let's get at it. We've got the new router, and as I shared in the car, the router that I picked for the garage is the little brother of the one that I have in the house, the AX1800 Wi-Fi 6 router. So this guy is going to get replaced with this guy. Last week, our main Wi-Fi connection into the house went south, and the network topology at our house is somewhat complicated, mainly because of all the buildings. There are some people claim my number one hobby is to see how many roofs that I have to maintain. Anyway, there's internet feed that comes over Wi-Fi into our garage. You might say, why your garage? The reason is because I did have a home office out there. We talked about that an episode or two ago. I think it's going to return. There was some flooding one year, but I think I might have a handle on that. And I kind of miss having that space as an office. So it'll make sense again once that's set up. Anyway, the Wi-Fi connection comes down into that office in the garage. And from there, it gets split. Connections in that office, and then the other feed goes into the house. In the house, there's another split that allows a line to go downstairs to a Wi-Fi router. I just replaced that one. and upstairs to another set of routers, basically giving us coverage throughout the house. So after doing a lot of different troubleshooting, I found out that it was actually, it looks like the router in the garage that was having trouble, and the router I just showed you is the one that we'll be replacing. And it's a pretty straightforward setup, and I'll walk you through it for those of you that might be interested in learning a little bit more about home networking. So the only other thing I have to say about that is my home office in the garage to the house is about 200 feet away. Maybe in the summertime I can show you the feed. I actually ran conduit underground, rented a trencher about the same time we ran electricity out to our chicken coops, and that's how the cable is run from the garage to the house. Now in the meantime, Amanda and I are a little bit hungry, and Taryn back there too. And we're sitting in line at Jimmy John's, and there's a sandwich here. Do you remember what it's called? Is it South or California Beach? Something like that. It has avocado and I think turkey. I may hold the turkey, and I'm gonna have them add bacon. And this is like, there used to be this sandwich when I was growing up called the cork and fork, and it was basically avocado, bacon, and sprouts. It's like impossible to get sprouts anywhere anymore because everybody's so afraid of E. coli. E. coli? E. coli. And so this is the closest I can get is this, I think it's called Beachcomber actually. Beachcomber sandwich at Jimmy John's, add bacon. Something's happening. You found your special purpose?
Yep.
And there she is, the best nod I can give to Iowa goodness. I was blessed as a kid to grow up around real deli food. This is really not it, but it's not too bad. Typically, this would have been served on wheat bread, and you can get that at Jimmy John's, but I felt more like a sub today. So here we go, some reminders of Iowa goodness. All right, it may not be the prettiest from a cable organization perspective yet, but I looked at that shelf and thought, hey, that's perfect for the router actually. So for now, that's what we're doing. When I get the tanks out of here and I'm not so afraid that I'm gonna mess them up, I'll spend some time cleaning that up, but that looks perfect actually. So, and I might actually even hang them from the ceiling. That's what they do from work. So we'll see if I can't get connected to that little guy and get him running. And in typical Murphy's Law fashion, the router inside worked right away. The one out here that I'm setting up in the gold needs a firmware update. So I'm waiting for it to reboot, but it looks like it's got internet connectivity. I disconnected the house. Once that gets completed, I'll have Amanda shut off the router in the house, and I'll plug it in out here, and we'll reboot, and we should be off to the races. And survey says, oh, it's looking good. So there are better ways to test than just YouTube, but it looks like it's working. One of the nice things about cleaning up is you sometimes find treasures. Thought I had actually gotten rid of all these, and that is the front door for that. So it'll hide some of this unruliness. Simple little pleasure for me, but I think that looks a lot nicer. A little dusty, as there's a lot of stuff in here. I picked up some compressed air and some cleaning wipes. We'll get that cleaned up and spend some TLC time downstairs over the next day. Hey Taryn, you listening to your tunes? Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? It's like, oh, that's not rain. Right, T? What you listening to? What do you think the chances are it's appropriate for someone her age?
50-50.
50-50?
Yeah.
Is that Spotify?
Yeah. Girls like us. I don't know.
So, Taryn loves music. And if you happen to have a kiddo in the spectrum, we were going through like noise canceling Bose earphones, Sony ones, and she likes to flip them and would snap them, and it was expensive. So that stocking cap actually has speakers in the cap and is Bluetooth enabled, and it is amazing for kiddos in the spectrum. So little tip for those of you out there that might be watching for this reason, those little stocking caps are awesome. So in the last episode, I talked a little bit at the end about a bike that Harley came out with their new lineup that was really intriguing to me. And I've had some time to think about it. First, I'll come clean and say that the bike that I was thinking about is the Softail Lowrider ST. And if you haven't seen it, I'll try to include a picture up in this general direction so you can see what it looks like. It has the Milwaukee 114, so it is a performance bike. However, the ST, I think, stands for Sport Touring. And what they're trying to do is build performance bikes that are also suitable for touring. It does have a fairing that's fixed. It looks kind of like the Road Glide. And I think, if I remember right, it was based on the FLXR. Or at least that's where it got some of its styling from. And so this idea of a touring performance bike was intriguing to me. Now, I use past tense there, and that's because a year ago I found my unicorn bike, and maybe some of you will understand the reference if you're a fan of Gone in 60 Seconds. But in 2016, Harley came out with an FLSS, a Softail Slim, that was done in a military style. And I didn't serve, but definitely appreciate those who did, and ensure my freedom. So I've always had a soft spot for that FLSS. And so happens that a year ago I had an opportunity to buy one. So I know there's at least a couple $1,000s worth of upgrades that I want to do to make it touring ready, and my thought process was, am I willing to give that bike up in order to switch over to a Softail Lowrider ST? My plan was always going to be that I would test drive it before making that decision, but I've reflected on it, and I've wanted that FLSS for so long that even though I've got some upgrades that I know I want to do to it, I still have decided that I'm going to hang on to it. So I can appreciate the Softail Lowrider ST. I think it's really awesome that Harley listened to its customer base. So good job, Harley. And I'll be curious to see what other people say. Probably still test drive one. And I'll be looking for reviews as they come out. So look forward to some updates on my Softail Slim. I'm already having some of them worked on right now while it's in storage, and I'll be sure to show it to you when it comes back. And in the meantime, I know I've been saying this for a few episodes, but I'm hoping to get back to some of the work that I've been doing with the Sportsters, which aren't going anywhere. And even with the Softail Slim being set up to tour, I'm keeping the Street Glide for sure. We've got a couple of trips planned in the early part of the year, and I will definitely be looking forward to using those heated grips and having those covered lowers that I have on that Street Glide. So, more to come. And that will wrap things up for this episode. I'll leave you with this picture of two of my favorite people. Click like, hit subscribe, leave us a comment, and remember, see the beautiful things that are around you every day. Until next time, my friends.